Sorry. All right, for real, one more. I'm Ryan Filikowski, and this is a review of the 2025 Hyundai IONIQ 5N. The 5N is a performance version of the regular IONIQ 5. And when I say performance, I'm not talking about bigger wheels and a couple badges. This is real deal performance. We purchased a 2025 Hyundai IONIQ 5N all-wheel drive that has dual electric motors that produce 601 horsepower, fueled by an 84 kilowatt-hour battery. Pricing starts at $66,100. We added $795 worth of options and a destination fee of $1,375, bringing it to an astronomical $68,270. That seems like a bit much for that. When you think about performance EVs, the first thing you think about is their acceleration. They're usually blisteringly fast, and the 5N is plenty quick, but with this car, it's about the full experience. The other thing people think about with EVs is their range. How far can you go on a single charge? EPA rated this at 221 miles and overachieved with 236 miles in our range test here at Consumer Reports, but that still seems a bit low for a modern EV. Beyond the performance of this car, I think it looks pretty cool. They put a bigger bumper with spoilers. It's got red accents along the whole car down the side. It's even got these big brakes on it, big wheels, little air gaps in the fenders here for cooling. It even has this really cool rear bumper with this large airfoil. It really makes it look like a proper sports car. This might sound silly, but this car has a rear wiper. Most Hyundai and Kia EVs don't have one, and we find that in driving in wet weather, it's nice to have a rear wiper. While the performance styling on this car looks pretty cool, some of it actually gets in the way when you're trying to get in the car. You can see here, the sill's a bit wide, so it rubs on your leg every time you get in. Once inside, you can see the sporty cues continue with this race-inspired steering wheel, these sport seats that even have a light-up N, and the performance-looking pedals. But it's not all about looks. The driving position's actually quite good in this car. You sit nice and upright, the steering wheel has plenty of telescope, and you feel like you're really in control. But these seats are manual, which means you can't get the finite adjustment you can with a power seat. Also, some of us wish that the seat could go a little lower, myself included, and it's not for headroom, it's actually just for its driving position itself. We did like the configurable console. Down here you have the cup holders that you can push out of the way to make a bigger space. We also really like the cell phone holder on your charger here because it has lips on it and it's rubberized, so it keeps your phone from moving around. Overall, the controls aren't that bad, but there are some things that take getting used to, such as this electronic gear shifter stalk that's kind of close to the windshield wiper stalk that you can bump when you're trying to get to the windshield wipers. Also, some simple tasks such as turning on your heated seat, you actually have to go through a climate menu to turn on, which should be its own separate button. The large screens are a nice touch, and it does come standard with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, although some testers did find that the steering wheel could cut off some information on the instrument cluster. That's enough about the interior. The real fun of this car is driving it. Let's take it out on the track. You can drive the 5N like a regular EV. It's quiet, has smooth power delivery, and it's just easy to drive in general. The real fun begins when you start playing with some of these modes. The first mode we're gonna play with is the exhaust. Listen to this. Yeah. I'm in park. This sounds like a real car, real engine. It'll even bounce off the rev limiter if you let it. There's no rev limiter to bounce off of, it's electric. What's even cooler about the exhaust sounds is when you put it in sport mode, it allows you to drive the car as if it has a real transmission. I'm using the paddle shifters and it's shifting as if I was driving a car with a dual clutch transmission. When you downshift, you get those little burbling sounds. I feel like I'm driving a real car with an engine. That's unbelievable. Something you can't see, but I can feel, so every time I shift, the car shakes as if it's actually shifting gears, but it's not. They really went out of their way to make this realistic as possible. When you downshift, you get those little burbling sounds. I feel like I'm driving a real car with an engine. That's unbelievable. What's really cool about the sport mode is it allows you to make small adjustments to power output, steering, and dampers within that mode. Another button on the steering wheel that sticks out is this red NGB button. It stands for N-Grin Boost, and it actually gives you the extra 40 horsepower you paid for originally. You push this button, it says ready, you put your foot on the brake, you apply the throttle, you lift off, it launches you into space. You have 10 seconds of this. This has to be the most fun I've ever had in an EV. The car really feels like it has an actual transmission and an engine. Between the noise and the shifting, the fact that it actually shakes the car when you shift gears, I mean, it feels real. It's unbelievable to me that this is actually electric. You could probably take someone for a ride in this that doesn't know much about cars and they would not know that this was electric. They really nailed the handling dynamics of this car. Even in the regular normal modes, the car stays flat, it handles great, has great steering. When you put it in the sport mode, it all gets better. Steering gets a little bit stiffer, it rotates a little bit, the differentials and the power delivery is just seamless. I apologize if it sounds like I'm yelling, and I am, because it's actually rather loud in here when you're in this mode. What's neat though is the outside of the car is silent. And if you do get sick of it, you just turn it off. It could be a daily driver. As I mentioned earlier, the 5N is adjustable and has a lot of drive modes. There's even more modes in the N menu here on the screen. These are all modes that are meant for a track only. The one that catches my eye is the N Drift Optimizer. In order to enter the N Drift Optimizer mode, you basically have to sign a waiver stating that you will use this on off-road or on tracks only. There's even a tutorial. The Hyundai IONIQ 5N is one of the most engaging EVs we've tested here at Consumer Reports to date. Between the artificial shifts and exhaust sounds, the acceleration, the handling dynamics, it's really a fresh change of pace from the usual EV experience that we're used to. If you're a car enthusiast and you're looking to go electric, this may very well be the car to consider. For more on EVs, check out consumerreports.org.